proud members of the Fan First Sports Network.
Bad Boys Mowers Pinstripe Bowl. It sounds like something from like Grand Theft Auto.
It does. I also want to know what Bad Boys Mowers is. Is this just like
I think they're like custom mowers.
Yeah, I just never heard of them until this bowl game. So good on them, I guess, for getting their advertising out there.
45, 40, 35, 40, he's gonna go! It's time, people, feel it!
Big Red Junkies.
Day by day, he gets better and better! He gets better and better! He gets If we die, we die!
Man, put a child in that, put him in the aisle.
Bring that trophy back to Lincoln!
We got a bowl game, baby.
It's game week.
Bowl time.
Fuck it, dude. Let's go bold.
Damn right.
It's fun to actually finally get to talk about this game specifically. It's been difficult to find a lot of information.
Depends. I mean, it is. I always like to try to listen to the week coming into a game, some podcasts of the opposing team.
Yeah.
There was a very limited options on Boston
That's
College
mostly
podcasts.
what I meant. Yeah. Well, that and just not a lot of the Nebraska people have done previews yet either. So
Yeah. And the only one that I found was a Locked On Boston College. And it was really funny in one of the episodes. He was starting like his second segment. He goes, I want to get one thing straight with a couple of fans that have said, why aren't you talking more about Boston College basketball? And he literally goes, talking Boston College basketball is a killer for your viewers. He goes, I want people to listen and I want people to pay attention to our show.
Oh my God.
So what I talk about Boston College basketball will be highly limited because it's football.
It's like us talking about Japanese baseball on this show.
Yeah.
It's just,
we lost like 5
learn your
subscribers.
lesson.
We lost like 5 subscribers. Thanks, Elijah.
I just love the honesty in him.
That's fantastic.
You probably gained some. You're like, you know what? I like this dude.
Mitch Sherman and Connor Happer do the Locked On Nebraska podcast. They touch on some other things. Like they talked volleyball as they were going through the tournament and stuff like that. And they talk a little bit of basketball. But they're kind of the same way. They do a very good job of keeping it mostly football because they know that the majority of people, that's what they want to hear about.
Yeah, well, that's kind of why we only do football. So it's kind of like we want people to actually listen.
It's pretty wild. But getting into this Boston College, Nebraska Pinstripe Bowl, what's it called, Matt?
The Bad Boys Mowers Pinstripe Bowl. It sounds like something from like Grand Theft Auto.
It does. I also want to know what Bad Boys Mowers is. Is this just like
I think they're like custom mowers.
Yeah, I just never heard of them until this bowl game. So good on them, I guess, for getting their advertising out there. But I think it's going to be exciting. The one of the biggest changes for what I expected about this game, actually, I heard just this morning, the weather's actually supposed to be like in the 50s and sunny.
Yeah.
Like it's not going to be bad the way that we've been being prepared for and things like that. Most of the actual media guys that cover Nebraska have been talking about for a month. They're going to have to go buy new parkas and things like that because it's an open air press box at Yankees Stadium. Sounds like it's going to be just as good if they would have been in Nashville.
Yeah.
So, but these are also 2 reasonably evenly matched teams when you start breaking it down on paper.
It's kind of weird when I was digging into Boston College and how much their season mirrored what Nebraska did. Nebraska started 5-1. They started 4-1. Going into the second to last game of the season, both Nebraska and Boston College needed a win in their last 2 games to become bowl eligible. Boston College won their last 2. We only won one of the 2. So they're 7-5. We're 6-6. Each team had kind of a lull in the middle of the season. Both teams got drastically better the last handful of games of the season. Like Boston College, they also made a quarterback change halfway through the year. And their quarterback that's now going to Florida State,
basically quit on the team, didn't he?
He flat out did. I know at least I don't like to say the whole players quitting on the team if they're transferring, but he actually he pouted and threw a fit and say, fuck you guys. But
it's fun.
But it's kind of weird. So in September, going month by month, Boston College averaged 30 points a game, October 20 points a game, November 35 points a game. Their rushing offense was 175, 128, and 212 as far as month by month. Their rushing defense allowed 101 in the first month, 206 in the second month, and then only 60 yards a game in November. So, again, that middle portion of the season, they had a major lull. They changed a handful of things around, including their quarterback, and they played drastically better.
I will also throw this out there as far as their defensive stats on against the run. They also played Syracuse, SMU, North Carolina, and Pitt. All
True.
Very pass-heavy teams. So I'm not saying that that's not an indicator, but they did play some very pass-heavy teams. They also played a North Carolina team whose coach had already been fired.
Yeah.
And that team straight up gave up on that program the moment that Mac Brown got fired because he's a beloved coach. People love playing for him. And he also got done just straight up dirty by North Carolina, in my opinion.
He needed to go. It was time. It's not like he was being all that successful anyway, but
that's fine. Fire him at the end of the year.
Yeah.
At least give him that respect because he built your program the first time around.
Well, I think that they would have waited till the end of the year, but he had come out and said, "Yeah, I'm coming back next year." And then North Carolina's like, "Wait, you are?
No, you're not. We're hiring
news
Bill
to us."
Belichick.
Like,
we don't like how old you are. We're going for 1 year younger.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's actually
Or a
only
lot of
9
years
months.
younger if it's his girlfriend.
Oh, yeah. That's like 60.
But also, as far as Boston College, and they really focused on the running game coming down to the end of the season because their leading running back, Kyle Robichaux, 56% of his carries came in the last month of the season, and 62% of his yards came in the last month of the season.
Oh, my God.
So, again, and that's what Bill O'Brian would like to do anyway. He wants to. They're not a good passing team. So
think New England offense in the mid 2000s and 2000 teens. That's Bill O'Brian.
Yeah.
They want to be able to pound the rock and throw the ball when it's necessary and play good defense.
Yep.
And the other thing about their quarterback that left, he's not going to get a shot in a program like that that's run by an entire NFL or pro staff. Because even the defensive coordinator, he hasn't been in the NFL, but for the last 7 or 8 years, he's been working as either the head coach or a coordinator for one of the USFL type teams.
Oh, okay.
It's a very professional staff. They're not a bunch of college coaches. So it's kind of interesting to see how that is playing out because you're also seeing the players that are enjoying playing with him and that are taking on some success. They're getting good looks. That Donovan Ezeraku, that consensus All-American D-end, the dude's an absolute animal.
He's a destroyer.
He's going to instantly be a destroyer in the league. Mm-hmm. He reminds me of what Verse is doing right now for the Rams that came out of Florida State last year.
Yeah.
He's going to be able to instantly make that leap and be an effective contributor on the defense right away.
Yep.
Luckily, it sounds like, based on a show that we heard this morning, he's not going to be playing for them in the Pinstripe Bowl.
Boy.
It'd be pretty crazy for him to play. I don't understand any scenario why he would play, but who knows? We'll find out officially on Saturday, I guess, or maybe the day before or something like that.
Yeah, I really hope that he doesn't because
Is 16 and a half sacks in a 12-game season any good?
20 and a half tackles for loss? Yeah. I think that's doing pretty good, man.
Yeah.
Especially for a DN to have 80 tackles.
Yeah.
You're borderline, if you get your tackle numbers up a little bit, you're looking at a Ndamukong Suh type year.
Yep.
That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. And the fact that we might not have to face him is kind of a big deal, I think.
Also, defensively for Boston College, they have 16 interceptions on the season, and which is tied for 10th in the country, and they have the 5th most interception return yards.
Holy cow.
So, when they catch the ball, they go. And they have 3 touchdowns returned for touchdown, or interceptions returned for touchdown as well.
How many does that Jaden McGowan have? Because I know he's also a kick returner, punt returner for them, and he's one of their DBs that's supposedly not supposed to be playing in this game either.
I will find out in a second. I didn't look at it per player, but
it just struck me like that because I'm looking at punt return and kick return stuff, and if he's a guy that's putting up massive interception numbers too, I could see why.
He did not have any.
No? Okay.
Nope.
Well, there you go. Matt, have you got anything on this as far as what their offense is going to look like?
No, not that you guys haven't already covered. I just don't know much about them. I got to be honest. They're just
Well, and there's a lot of people talking about the explosiveness of their offense as far as big plays go. But another stat that I saw was plays inside the 40 or getting inside the 40-yard line, the opponent's 40-yard line. They are they're fourth best in the country scoring inside the 40-yard line, averaging 4.72 points every time they get inside the 40. The thing is, they don't get inside the 40 very often. They are 94th in the country getting inside the 40-yard line.
Jesus.
So it's like they can't move the ball very well, but when they do, they put the ball in the end zone. They only have 3 field goals on the year. So they put the ball in the end zone when they have the opportunity. Like for Nebraska, they get inside the 40-yard line 51% of the time, but we can't score when we get inside the 40-yard line. Like we're only averaging 3 points per trip inside the 40, and they're averaging 4.7. So
I don't like that.
You know,
although I truly think that you're gonna to game plan for Nebraska's offense going into this game, I think would be one of the most difficult challenges of any of the teams that are left out there, including anybody that's in the CFP, because you had 3 weeks of Dan Holgorsen in season that you can get game film on, where he didn't know how to speak the language that he was trying to call plays in. He said in the press conference this past week, when asked about play calling, and then Rhule kind of even expanded on it a little bit more on Friday in his press conference, that Dana is not intending to change that language that the team already knows during the offseason. He's just invested that much time into actually learning how to call this, and now he feels finally comfortable. He said last week, just finally felt comfortable writing play. He said, now I can write plays down. Which, to people that call the games, I'm sure that means more than what it does to us. But it sounds funny to say. But for the fact that he's now, Dana's outwardly talking about how he's confident about it. Rhule's talking about how now he's not going to have to change anything. He's addressed the playbook in general. Now he can call his offense, but in this language. That's got to be scary. Also, throwing on top of it that he's now had 3 weeks of bowl practices with this team to really figure out the personnel that he likes to use and bring Dylan up to speed on how he's going to call games.
Yeah.
I think that would be pretty scary for anybody to try and have to deal with one of the best offensive minds in the game.
I love it.
It's exciting. I'm more excited to see what's going to happen coming up next year, but
yeah,
this is going to be a good little preview, and I think maybe Dylan Raiola puts himself back on the map as far as a guy that everybody's watching out for. Maybe he'll get past the Chubby Mahomes comparisons and but throw for 350 out there, kid.
Yeah.
Throw for 4 or 5 touchdowns and 350, and you'll get people to shut up about
Forget
that other
350,
stuff.
just 300 once.
Yeah, 300 once would be nice.
How do you guys think the team is feeling about the bowl game? Do you think this is just a bowl game, or do you think they're fucking
I think
amped
they're
to
all
be
fired
there?
up. I don't know if you heard about this, but Matt Rhule and his wife pulled out the old credit card and are paying for all of the former seniors that wanted to go from last year, not this year, from last year that wanted to go to experience the bowl trip. They're paying for them to come out. Like Nerlens
really
Noel from fucking Germany is coming over.
It's a pricey ticket.
Rhule said it was basically the same as trying to get there from Omaha right now. But,
Really?
Yeah. But, I think that this is more of a cultural thing for the team, that this is finally, like we talked about all season long, getting this monkey off the back, kind of almost, saging the house and getting rid of the boogeyman. I think that's going to be what this bowl trip is. It's going to be like a healing moment for the program.
And, we were talking about that Ezra Iwaku for Boston College. Obviously, we have a guy, he's not going to get drafted as high as Ezra Iwaku will.
No, he'll be top 15.
Ty Robinson, it sounds like he's playing. Like, he has no reason to play.
Ty and Nash.
But when you have that type of an attitude and that type of, want to,
yeah,
that shows that the team wants to be there and is ready to go.
Ty was part of the press conference on Thursday, and he said that he and Nash couldn't wait to get out there and represent the university one last time, and that if it was up to them, they'd get to play every single down in the game.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So this is not I'm kind of mailing it in, prepping for the draft. This is, I'm going out there to win a fucking bowl game because it's my first chance and my only chance in college to get it done.
Now, if this wasn't Ty Robinson's first bowl game, that might be different.
He'd probably be gone.
But it is, and he wants to do it, so let's go.
Love it.
It's also like we said, it's kind of a cultural thing for the program. I think in the future you're going to see this. There might be guys that go prep for the draft or go, obviously jumping into the portal, things like that. This is going to be a normal thing moving forward. But as far as guys that are still going to be playing on this team next year, deciding to opt out to avoid injury or whatever it might be that you're seeing in a lot of other programs, I don't think you're going to see that for this team. Kind of reminds me of when during the COVID year, if you recall, we were given a bowl opportunity and the players supposedly voted and turned it down.
Yeah.
Like that's fucking insane to me still to this day.
I agree. But you talk about culture.
Yep.
That's what
Cultural
that program
changes.
was at the time.
Yep. The only other thing we really, I mean, everybody kind of already knows a lot about Bill O'Brian and his coaching style, the way that he goes about things, the rebuild at Penn State, the stuff he's done in the NFL. We've talked ad nauseum almost about him and the comparison of him and Rhule coming into the Nebraska coaching hire of Rhule. I don't know if there's much more to be said there. I mean, the guy's doing a good job in year one at Boston College.
Yeah.
Anything else on this one, guys?
I just can't wait for the game to get here.
Yeah.
And we got like Christmas and shit in between here and then, but whatever.
You got questions?
No, I mean, the only other time we played in New York was for the bowl game. Well, not the only other time we played in New York, because we haven't won in the state of New York since the 62 Gotham Bowl. But the last time we played there was 1984 against Syracuse in the state of New York. So
That was the last
we lost
Gotham
that
Bowl,
one.
if I understand correctly.
I think so.
Yeah.
Did you do any questions for this game, or you
I
guys
did.
were tired of getting beat
That's
by
what I
me?
just meant by, do we have any questions? It's not going to matter. I don't even really need to answer, but
I do have questions.
let's do it. Let's roll through them.
All right. Who will have more sacks, Nebraska or Boston College? Boston College had 30 sacks on the season. Nebraska had 27. Obviously, Ezra-Waku will probably not play, which accounts for more than half of their sacks.
Yeah.
But Nebraska lost a third of their sacks of players leaving, so it's not like we are not losing things as well, because we are. So who will have more sacks, Boston College or Nebraska?
Nebraska.
Obviously a push, too, you can take, but I'm just,
Matt said Nebraska.
Pushes for pussies.
I'm going with Matt's answer. Pushes for pussies. No, I think Ty Robinson probably racks up 3 himself in this game. This is going to be a try. As much as Ty Robinson can, he's going to use this to improve his draft stock, I think.
The one thing that makes me want to take Boston College is that, again, they don't throw the ball very often. We do. So the opportunity for sacks is going to be more there for Boston College.
You're right about that.
But the second place guy on Boston College behind Ezra-Waku is sacks. It only had 3.5. So
That's
I
crazy.
kind of have to take Nebraska.
That's fucking crazy.
And there's a chance that two of their offensive linemen from Boston College won't be playing either. So I have to take Nebraska. Boston College takeaways, 1.5. They are +8 on the season. Boston College is. They were +7 in the second half of the season. I already talked
12th
about
in the country. Wow.
I already talked about they have 16 interceptions, but I'm doing takeaways completely, so it's adding in fumbles. So 1.5.
Boston College 1.5?
Yeah. Boston College takeaways.
I'm going to go under that.
Okay.
I'm going to go under that just simply because of how much preparation we've had for this game. And that as much as Rhule already had such a hard-on for eliminating turnovers, I think Holgerson has already shown in his 3 games that he's coached for us, if you're going to turn the ball over, you're not going to get the ball back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good line number. I think I'm going to take the over. I think we're going to have 2.
Okay.
I think we're going to have 1 of each.
I'm doing the same thing. I think we're going to have 2 as well.
It's especially just thinking about special teams blunders and stuff like that. It'd be pretty easy to get to 2 in a game where players are missing, somebody's in a role for a first time, something like that.
That's true.
So,
Yep. Who will have a better third down conversion percentage? Boston College or Nebraska? Boston College is at 43%. Nebraska's at 43%. And basically what they allow is the same as well, 37 and 34%.
That's kind of crazy, actually.
Yeah, they're like
Just looking at this is kind of crazy.
I'm just going to go ahead and take Nebraska then, because I think Nebraska is a lot more motivated in this game.
Okay.
Nationally, they're 34th and we're 37th in offense on third down. They're 52nd, we're 30th in defense.
Yeah.
That's evenly as matched as you almost possibly can get.
Yeah. That's kind of why I had the question.
The question is percentage?
Who
No,
will have the
m-
better third down conversion
percentage.
percentage?
Percentage. Okay. I'm going to go with Nebraska because I think we're going to have less third downs, and it's just going to be a numbers game.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Nebraska as well.
I also feel like if our defense plays the way that I'm assuming they're going to play, because it was a big question. Are we even going to have any frontline defensive guys to play in the bowl game? The guys that we have there that are there right now, I am very comfortable with. I think we've got 8 dudes in that front rotation still that are going to be ready to go. I don't think that they're going to move the ball very well on us at all because we're good against the run. Period. We're good against the run. The guys we're missing are mostly pass rush guys, and they don't throw the ball very well. So I'm thinking this is going to be a lot of 3 and outs for them. Their punter's going to see a lot of action in this game.
Question 4, Boston College yards per carry. Nebraska allows 3.4. Boston College is at 4.2. The last month of the season, I talked about Robichaux, how he ran the ball a lot. The last month of the season, they were at 4.6. I'm basically just putting it at what their season average is at 4.2.
Way under.
Okay.
I would actually feel comfortable taking the under at like 3.4 on this.
How about if I just put it at 4 flat, and I know you're still going to
You
say
can go
under,
4 flat. And I don't care.
I'll just do 4 flat.
I'll take the under 2.
Okay.
I'm going under on that hard.
I don't know about hard. I'll take a soft under, though.
I'll go real hard on it. Rock hard.
I'm just going to be different and say over. We know Heinrich Harburg moved over to the tight end. So just targets for Heinrich Harburg, 1.5. He only has 1 target on the entire season. Granted, I know he wasn't actually playing tight end at the time. The tight ends for Nebraska are averaging 4.5 per game as a group. So Heinrich Harburg targets, not catches, 1.5.
I'm taking the under. I don't see getting that involved in one bowl game after not being in that position all year.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to go over. I think that you're going to see at least 2 plays where he's lined up at the tight end and backs up and catches a ball and throws a ball. I think he's going to get an opportunity to throw for a touchdown in this game for sure.
You think they're going to run the same trick play in one game 2 times?
Yeah. Not the same exact play, but it's going to be a very similar style. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm taking the under as well. We heard this at the beginning of the season where, and I know it's a different play caller, Harburg's going to get so involved as a non-quarterback, and I was sitting here on the show like
he was almost a non-factor.
I'll believe it
in
when
the
I
year.
see it.
Yeah,
but yeah, again, I'll believe it when I see it as far as targets for him. Who will have more total yards, Rahmir or Emmett? So this is receiving, returns, and rushing. I put it between Rahmir Johnson and Emmett Johnson because mainly, and obviously we all know Emmett Johnson has kind of been turned into the guy over the last 3 weeks. But I just kind of think with Rahmir being healthy, it's in his last game, it's in his home in New York. Maybe a good.
Do we know that he's
maybe a good
100%
send-off.
healthy? That's my only
I guess
question.
that's true, but I think with all this time off that he's had, and again, I think he's going to want to play in his last game at Nebraska first and foremost, and also with it being at home. I was like, let's throw Rahmir Johnson a bone and put him in a question. So,
bone thrown. I'm taking Emmett.
Okay.
Well, I'm actually going to. I had a question for you guys after he gets done with his last one, and I'm kind of gonna blow my answer here, but I think Rahmir Johnson's probably my MVP of this game. I think he's gonna have a massive, potentially like an Emmett Johnson against Wisconsin, like 100 yards on both sides of the ball type of game. His entire family is supposed to be at the game, like cousins, nephews, like
that's
whole.
That's why I
thing.
wanted to put him in this question.
I think it's going to be monster, and Rhule, I think, feels the weight of this kid has not gotten a fair shake almost his entire career at Nebraska, and he's dealt with injury after injury. The only thing that I think keeps him from having an absolutely monster game is an injury, and I really hope we don't see that in his final game. So for that reason, I'm definitely going with Rahmir. I'll bet you he gets the start. And I'll bet you that he plays the majority of the snaps in meaningful downs.
Rahmir ever since he came here 26 years ago, has been a guy that I've rooted for, that I've really wanted to be successful here.
Yeah.
I remember being so pissed off that Frost was fucking him over and just throwing him in a random game and burning his red shirt. Or he didn't burn his red shirt, but he played like one snap in one game, completely wasting an entire game. So sentimentally, logically, I should pick Emmett. Sentimentally, I'm picking Ramirez.
Matt made the logical pick.
Yeah. Which is why he's beating the shit out of all of us.
Also that.
Dylan Raiola completion percentage. I put it a nice number of 69. On the season, he's at 66.6%, 71% in the last 3 games. Boston College's defense allows 60%.
What'd you set the line at?
69.
I'm going to go nice and
Yes.
over. I think he's going to have a very efficient game. It's going to mean a lot that they had 3 weeks of work together, him and Holgerson, to get on the same page with. Because you look beyond just Holgerson's ability or lack thereof to call the plays based on the language that Dylan knew. You have to also think about the fact that there takes some time to get that quarterback in sync with the type of calling that he can expect from you, and that type of game plan to really be able to understand, okay, this is probably where he's going to go with this. This is what I should really be looking for. Some of those audibles and things that Dylan really likes to get into, he's going to be more comfortable now with that progression. And I think he's going to have one of his super, super efficient, 75+% passing games.
I don't think it's going to be
nope, that's stupid.
Super high, but I do think it will be slightly over nice. I'm taking the over 2.
Slightly over nice.
Slightly over nice.
Nice.
I should take the over because Captain Drops a Lot is not playing in the game. So that should help his completion percentage. But I'm going to take
You're
the
talking
under.
about Nayor?
Yeah.
I hadn't heard that one. That's a good one. Captain Drops a Lot.
Accurate nickname for
I did
him.
think that was interesting when Rhule was asked about guys that weren't playing, and he was like, yeah, Nayor. It was almost like, I don't really have an answer for this. He's preparing for something. I don't know what he thinks he's preparing for, but it's he's still in the building working out, but he's not going to be playing in the game.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm going to take the under. I think it's going to be pretty close to his average. I can see upper 60%. My last question.
He has like 5 games on the season where he went over 70, doesn't he?
Yes. Well, at the beginning of the season and then 2 of the last 3 games. Because he was at like 68% against Iowa.
There you go.
Last question. Because of all the guys leaving, it's going to create opportunity for a couple of young guys to play more. Shavers and McGahee have been playing a lot as the season comes down the stretch. So between these 3 guys, who's going to have more tackles? Shavers, McGahee, and Riley Van Poppel.
Ooh. I'm going to go with McGahee, actually.
Okay.
That dude, especially against Iowa, just kind of started taking that game over almost.
Yeah.
If Nash and Robinson weren't playing, I'd probably look at Van Poppel, but I'm actually going to take bits of Shavers on this one.
Okay. Shavers. Did you guys think it was interesting? I don't know if you saw the depth chart that came out. But they, it looks like it's probably more accurate than any depth chart we've seen. It's like the middle part of the season.
Yeah.
Did you think it was interesting to see Shavers listed over at linebacker behind Bullock? Because he was playing more in the jack spot for the majority of the first half of the season.
And honestly, I didn't really even look at that part of it. It was kind of just more of not positions like what you just said, but just positioning of, okay, these guys are gone. Now who's in those spots?
Who's there?
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting in general. Again, another coaching change, just to see how the defense looks different if it does at all.
Yeah, that'll be very interesting, especially when they don't have all their coaches, because the D-line coach isn't coming in until after the NFL season gets over. From what I understand, the new DBs coach, which I'm super excited about, he's also not coming in until after UCF plays in their bowl game.
Yeah.
So he's not part of this preparation. It sounded like Dvorak is working with the D-line and the linebackers still, and that pretty much Butler is doing everything else. I'm assuming Jon Snow. Phil Snow's Jon Snow came down from the wall. Phil
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
That bastard. Phil Snow has also been on campus, I guess, since the middle part of last week, and he's probably working with them too. But it's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be interesting to see what type of play we get out of like Van Poppel, because I feel like he hasn't gotten a ton of run this season.
Yeah.
Well, they were protecting that red shirt of his pretty tightly.
Pretty tightly.
Yeah. Well, and the bowl game doesn't count, so it's free reign to do what you want.
But like I said, you got two pretty steady dudes that it's their last game.
So there's the three options: Shavers, McGahee, Van Poppel. You guys both switched yours. I'm just going to take the other guy just to have somebody win. Might as
one
well.
of the three.
Why the fuck not?
So who are you on? Van Poppel.
Van Poppel. Yeah.
No, I think Shavers or McGahee are probably my top two picks.
Yeah.
Van Poppel just simply because of the fact that he's a man eater. He's a line eater guy. He's not grabbing as many tackles, but who knows? Who knows? I think that there's a very realistic chance that you could see Shavers play almost as many snaps at linebacker as you see Bullock.
Yeah.
But who knows? I'm excited to see it one way or the other. Is that your last question?
Yeah, it is.
That is the last question. When you look at sabermetrics, FPI, all those different things, they are all showing that Nebraska and Boston College, what's expected to play and be on the field is almost an even matchup. ESPN's FPI has us at 50.4% chance to win. I think it's interesting when you look at the lines, they haven't hardly moved at all. Opened at -3.5 Nebraska. The over-under opened at 45.5. It's still sitting at 45.5, but I think with the new weather reports, you could probably see that balloon up, a couple points before the game starts. It'd be a good time to buy on that. But 11 o'clock at Yankees Stadium.
Fuck the Yankees.
Fuck the Yankees. Fuck the Yankees for sure. But coverage is on ESPN, on ABC. It's going to be an excellent thing to watch on a Saturday morning after Christmas. Playing with new presents, playing with your old presents, whatever you might be playing with.
It'd be like 40 degrees at game time.
They actually were talking this morning. Somebody was talking about on a New England podcast that I was listening to. They referenced that it was probably actually going to be one of the warmest Christmas weeks that they've had up there in a couple decades. So if the weather's right and the grass is in decent shape, this could be a much better game than a lot of people expected it to be.
Yeah.
So who you guys got in this game? Nebraska -3.
I go back and forth on this game. I think it's going to be a really good competitive game. I kind of am the way that I'm going to lean is Nebraska because of the guys that are playing as opposed to the guys that they are losing.
Losing your top defensive player, even if he's not a first-round draft pick, is still a big loss.
Losing Bayor, losing Tommy Hill, not completely playing, losing Jamari Butler, losing the guys that we lost hurts. Like, I'm not shitting on any of those guys or whatever else, but still having Nash, still having Ty, still having John Bullock, all these guys that are still going to be playing for us on defense, I think is just going to give us that momentum and that boost. Us, obviously, I'm not saying Boston College doesn't want to be there, but we are very motivated to finally be playing in a fucking bowl game, no matter what bowl game it is. I just think that Nebraska is going to end up pulling this one out, but I do think it's going to be very close.
Literally everything that Jed just said is also why I'm taking Nebraska.
Where are you guys at on the over?
What is it again?
45.5 currently.
Well, with that weather report, over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll be right around there.
I personally, my scoring prediction on this is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of like 38-10. I think Nebraska's offense is going to look like a well-oiled machine after basically 6 weeks of Dana Holgorsen. They're going to take over. I think Dylan Raiola is going to have a monster game. I could also see Ja'Cory Barney having like a 150, 200, or 2 touchdowns type day. So yeah, I think the over-under, I think, is pretty close. I would probably be looking like 50-ish points, somewhere in that neighborhood, 48 to 50 points.
And again,
as it sits, I'd take it over.
With Boston College not really being a throwing team, if we go up by 2 scores, having them to try to have to come back is going to be really hard.
That's also where I think the sacks are going to come into play.
Yep.
Because their current quarterback that took over after Castellanos quit.
Yeah.
He's only thrown for like 900 yards.
Yeah.
So I don't think this is going to be as close of a game as a lot of people are anticipating it being, especially since Ezraku is out.
I think we cover that spread, but I think it's more of like a 10-point game. 10 to 14.
Either way, it's fucking one more game in Nebraska football after Christmas for the first time in God knows how long.
It's game week.
Fuck it, let's go bowling.
And this may be the most unbelievable night in Cornhusker football history.